Welcome back to WoW Sentiment, your daily breakdown of what the World of Warcraft community is talking about. Today is March 27th, 2026, and the big topic dominating the conversation: general discussion. We scraped Reddit, the official Blizzard forums, and Wowhead to bring you the full picture. The overall sentiment sits at 22% positive, 68% neutral, and 10% negative. That makes this one mostly neutral. Interestingly, most of the community isn't taking a strong stance either way. There's a wait-and-see attitude, which usually means players want more information before making up their minds. That level of restraint is pretty unusual for the WoW community. Let's break down what's driving these numbers. General discussion is the single biggest topic in today's discussion, making up 50% of all conversations we tracked. Right behind it, raids, dungeons and Mythic Plus accounts for 40%. We're also seeing significant discussion around community and social. Now, a 22% positive and 10% negative split might not seem dramatic on the surface, but context matters. WoW communities tend to be vocal critics, so these numbers reflect a community that's actively engaged with the topic, not just passively consuming content. But the numbers only tell part of the story. Let's hear what players are saying. Starting with the main topic, general discussion. The game itself should be communicating this, or it should have been explained in the content release schedule. Also, if delves are really a pillar of so many cash shop items since Dragonflight and the War Within, is Microsoft bleeding money or what? Why are we getting so many cash shop items when we already pay FE Shaman, WoW, DK buffs when? At least one of their specs should be in the top 50%, excluding tanks. Nobody cares if you think something is AI generated. If the add-on or website is bad, then it'll fail regardless of AI assistance. But AI witch hunting is not contributing. You Sidetracks 9. This comment comes from a thread titled "I'm once again asking the community," and it really captures the core of what people are feeling. With 22% of the community leaning positive, the split in opinion is clear when you dig into the actual conversations. This is a perspective you see a lot in these threads. It comes from a different conversation entirely, but it ties into the same core issue. Players aren't just complaining for the sake of it. They're drawing on years of experience with the game to make their points. And when you see this level of detail in community feedback, it shows just how invested people still are in making the game better. Moving on to the second biggest topic, raids, dungeons and Mythic Plus, which makes up 40% of today's discussion. While general discussion is getting the most attention, raids, dungeons and Mythic Plus is generating its own share of passionate responses. These two topics are more connected than they might seem at first glance, since changes in one area of the game inevitably ripple out to affect others. Comments like this show that the community isn't just reacting emotionally. Players are thinking critically about how these changes affect the game long term. And that kind of thoughtful feedback is exactly what keeps the conversation productive. Beyond these main topics, we're also seeing discussion around community and social at 10%. Each of these deserves its own deep dive, but for now, the main story is clearly centered around general discussion. Now let's take a look at what's happening on the news side. Wowhead has been covering some developments that tie directly into today's discussion. First up, Delver's journey capped at rank 4 until next weekly reset. There was zero communication on whether this was intended or not, leaving many players confused. Recently, Blizzard responded on their customer support forums confirming that the Delver's journey is capped at rank 4 for this week. Players will not be able to gain additional Delver's journey until March 31st, 2026. Blizzard. View original. Our developers have investigated reports submitted to them regarding this issue and have confirmed it is not a bug. It will be possible to progress past level 4 on the Delver's journey on the week of March 31st, 2026. We encourage players to explore various resources, such as online guides, our official forums, and actively talk about this with other players. But that's not the only news worth covering. Also making headlines, possible new shop armor sets data mined in patch 1.2.0.5. Possible new shop armor sets data mined in patch 12.0.5 posted one day ago. MX3 looking to dress like a servant to the old gods? Check out these old god-inspired armor sets and others that we've data mined on the patch 1.2.0.5 PTR. Old god-inspired armor sets. These armor sets are speculated to be available in-game shop in patch 1.2.0.5, but nothing is directly confirmed at this time. This armor set has 2 color variations along with a stunning cloak visual effect. Venthyr-inspired armor set. This last armor set has similarities to the Ensemble, Harvester's court attire from the Venthyr Covenant, but with striking red glow effects around the shoulders and cloak. What do you think of these new armor sets? These developments add important context to the community discussion we've been tracking. When official changes happen alongside community debates, it tells us that Blizzard is at least aware of the conversation, even if they haven't directly responded yet. Let's hear from a few more community voices before we wrap up. This is the kind of feedback that adds depth to the conversation. It's one thing to see sentiment percentages, but hearing individual players explain their perspective is where you really start to understand what's driving the numbers. Across all the threads we track today, the pattern is clear: the WoW community has a lot to say about general discussion, and they're not holding back. What makes this conversation particularly interesting is the range of perspectives. You've got veterans with years of experience, newer players bringing fresh eyes, and everyone in between weighing in with their own take. So where does that leave us? Today's sentiment breakdown shows 22% positive, 68% neutral, and 10% negative. That mostly neutral reading tells us that the community's overall mood is one of watchful patience. General discussion dominated the conversation at 50% of all discussion, with raids, dungeons and Mythic Plus close behind at 40%. With Wowhead reporting on Delver's journey capped at rank 4 until next weekly reset, this is clearly a story that's still developing. We'll be keeping an eye on how the community reacts as more information comes out. That's your WoW sentiment breakdown for today. We track these conversations daily so you don't have to scroll through hundreds of Reddit threads and forum posts yourself. If you found this analysis useful, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss tomorrow's report. Hit that notification bell so you're the first to know when the next community breakdown drops. And drop a comment letting us know your take on today's topics. Do you agree with